All right. Good morning. We have with us today Taina Mayer and Jaden Donovan. We will. I do need to remind no recording with any devices in here. You need to use the malt box at the back. And with that, we'll open up the floor for questions. Raise your hand, and we'll get you the microphone. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Taina, last year, I know this is early in your career, but you faced Ohio State. And you faced the press when you were with Boston College. Can you kind of talk about what you see with the press and how has it helped with preparation with such a short turnaround?
Yeah, for me last year, it was I was a freshman. I was new to college basketball, and I never seen pressure like that in my career before. But now that I've played and I came to Duke, and we pressure all the time on defense and practice, so we went over it a lot. So now just for us, it's just patience and poise. That's really it for us.
And then question for both of you. Throughout the season, have you seen other teams that have played a similar style to what you're going to see tomorrow?
I don't really think so. I think we've definitely met some teams that are, really good at defense. But a pressure like that, I think, T can attest to this, that we have like a really good pressure defense. So I guess it's like playing against ourselves, kind of. Just like being able to, see where we can like get in the gaps and stuff, and as T said, just have poise and see where we can control the game.
For both of you, how do you prepare, like with just one day of practice in between the last game and the next game for this type of press? You don't really get that time with like a scout team running the same thing. How do you prepare for it?
We prepared all year for pressure. So for us, this is just we're just going over it. That's really all it is.
And you guys have a significant, like not significant, but a bit of a size advantage. So how do you think that's going to play in your favor tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we just have to go out there for throw the first punch, really. As you said, size advantage is really helpful. And Coach Kerr has told us that they're kind of equally athletic as us. So, just like using every advantage that we can against them, I think is definitely something we should capitalize on.
Hey, for both of you guys, this is obviously your first NCAA tournament appearance. Can you just talk about the differences you may have seen both in preparation and in the game yesterday from the regular season to now?
I would say with the teams, definitely desperation. I mean, you watch all the games, and you can see that every team is desperate. I mean, it's now or never. That's really it for every team who's playing. So for us, I feel like that's how we're gonna play. You know what I'm saying? It's our time, so we have to play like it.
Just for Jaden, but one thing that's sort of been sort of interesting to watch all year has been your finishing sort of development at the rim. What do you think sort of helped you find that finesse that's really been so present, especially in the last month and a half?
Yeah, I think definitely the confidence from my coaches and teammates. Like T tells me all the time, like no one can really mess with you, and that really helps to hear frequently. Just because, like at times, especially being a freshman, like you're like, oh, like I shouldn't take the shot, I should pass it up. And I think I've always been capable of finishing at the rim. That's something I've been known to do. But just being able to do that here and at this level, and just having my teammates and coaches back me up.
Now, neither of you played with her, but Celeste obviously was a big part of the Duke program 2 years, the prior 2 years. So just what is that like? What have you heard about from your teammates going up against her and just knowing that you're playing someone who has a history with your team?
Yeah, obviously, Celeste played for Duke, and, we're all very excited to play Celeste and Ohio State. I mean, it's not really, no one really like Celeste. It's more just like we want to get to the Sweet 16 and, beat Ohio State, so.
And you're also a younger team. Can you talk about how the whole team has grown this year with a lot of new people, a lot of younger folks coming together, and now you're, one game away from the Sweet 16?
I feel like for us, it's been a lot of maturity and communication. I think that's just something that we've been building on since the beginning of the season, and we continue to build on it even throughout this tournament. So, yeah.
For those on the March Madness Zoom, if you do have questions, please use your raise hand feature. Anything else from the group here? No? Ladies, thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Good afternoon, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Can we start with an opening statement?
Sure. Happy to be here. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. Obviously, an important day of prep for us. Well, we haven't had it yet, but we're about to have it. You know, I told the team last night, like, there's only 32 teams left after today, and we're one of them. And that's a great accomplishment for our team. And now the challenge is to try to be one of 16 left, and that cuts a little bit more severe. Everybody left is really, really good. And so for us tomorrow, we're going to have to be really, really good to win the game, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
Thank you. Questions?
Hey, Coach. You described yesterday's game as a tale of two halves. How do you plan on carrying that momentum from that strong second half into the whole game tomorrow?
Well, you know, each game is its own entity. I do believe in momentum. Like, I do believe that you can carry over things, but each team, each opponent presents different challenges. And then, you know, as I said yesterday, you go into the game thinking it's going to unfold a certain way, and then it never unfolds that way. Maybe I should stop going into the game thinking that it's going to unfold a certain way. Maybe I should just be clear. But you do think of all the possibilities as a coach. I mean, that's my job, to think about what could happen and then have, you know, a plan for when X happens or Y happens or Z happens, have a plan for our group of what our adjustment's going to be. So I think for us, we just try to get locked in as best we can to the opponent and what we want to try and you know, attack offensively and defensively, and then the hard part is executing that in real time against a talented team.
Garrett, you told me to ask you today about the press. You get a chance to look through the film, and then Jaden said you guys hadn't played something like that, you know, a press like this before. Just what do you see that stands out about what they do with their pressure? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's effective. That's the biggest thing. Like, they force a lot of turnovers, and then they're able to convert. Their conversion rate's really high in terms of when they force them to be able to get scores out of it. So obviously, everybody that probably plays them says we got to put a premium on taking care of the ball. That goes without saying. Got to be really sharp taking care of it, and if we can do that and get the ball across the midline, then we have to be very disciplined in our execution. You know, they have really athletic players, and you know, honestly, the thing to me that stands out is their experience. I mean, I think if you look at the 10 players that have played the most minutes, I think 7 are fifth-year seniors. 7 out of 10. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of experience. And so, you know, with experience comes wisdom, and they've been in these battles before. They've been in tournament runs before, deep tournament runs before. So that I think is what stands out about their team, is just they have a lot of players that have played a lot of college basketball and won a lot of big games. And so that's why they're one of the best teams in the country and have been all year.
You just mentioned maybe sometimes you have to go into a game not expecting something or expecting something, and then things change. Kevin McGuff has this year, maybe more than last year or years past, pressed and then decided, okay, I'm going to pull off the press, and then flip his fingers and put it back on. How do you as a coach adjust to that on the fly when they're very good in the half court, but also they can turn the press and try to speed you back up in the next possession?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's something. I think for our players, we just, you know, you expect it, and if it's there, you attack it, and if it's not, it's not. You know, I don't think you can try and program every possession. What I don't want our players to be is robots. What I don't want them to be is looking over at me every time and saying, like, what do we do? Part of this coaching is to allow them to be independent and free thinkers and teach them to be that. And so you can't micromanage everything, and I don't want to. So you have to trust them. So what my plan with that be is just to trust my players out there that they're going to make the right decisions, and they're going to recognize, you know, is it a press, is it not, which is pretty easy to recognize, right? And then take care of the ball with that and be where they're supposed to be, depending on the pressure that we get.
Thanks for the time, Coach. You talk about Ohio State's experience. On your side, you have a young team, but they've grown throughout the season. How have you seen them make strides to now be one of those final 32 teams and going up against a team like Ohio State?
We've made tremendous strides all year. I'm really proud of this group to be sitting here, playing for a chance to go to the Sweet 16. It's a great accomplishment for our team to this point, and we're still hungry. Don't get me wrong. We want to play more. We want to play in more games, but to be sitting here winning a first-round game and looking at what our group has had to grow quickly. So we were the experienced team last year. We had a lot of seniors, and now this year we lost like 7 of our top 9. We lost from last year's team, and 8 of our 11 are freshmen and sophomores. And so, it's taken time, but they've done a great job of, I think more than anything, their coachability, their excitement, their passion for the game, their willingness to be great teammates, and just investing in them has been a lot of fun for us as a staff. And then I think it's been fun for the players to feel their growth, like they feel like themselves getting better. And we would play games early in the year, and then we would struggle with certain things. And then middle of the year, we're starting to figure them out. And then end of the year, we're actually winning those games. So that whole process has been really rewarding as a coach.
And seeing one of those players, I know playing Celeste tomorrow, you know her very well. Yesterday during your game, she's walking over to talk to Duke fans because she knows them and she feels part of that family. What does she do so well? What specifically have you seen her do so well that you can prepare your team against, looking at like yesterday's performance and how strong she was offensively and defensively? What do you do to kind of help minimize that impact?
Well, I think it's not just Celeste. I think it's their whole team that's just elite competitors, and they're a very complete team, offensively and defensively. And so they present a big-time challenge because they don't have too many weaknesses. They have multiple players that can score, that can be the leading scorer on their team. Defensively, we talked about how they can disrupt, and then all the experience that they bring. So, they're competitors. I think that's one thing that stands out when you watch them on film is how much they compete, and they want to win. And I think our team does as well. And we're very much looking forward to the matchup.
Going into Ohio State, how important is it that it's not like yesterday where the first half they get momentum and you guys have to come back? How important is it that you guys get the first punch in there?
Well, one thing I'm pretty confident in saying is I don't think we're going to lead the whole game, and that doesn't mean I don't believe in my team, but like you're going to have stretches where like the other team does good stuff and you get down some amount of points. I don't know what that is, and I think you've seen it through the men's and women's tournament here. Like teams are getting down and then they're coming back, or you have to, in these games, it's going to be like that. Hopefully, I hope we're not down at halftime tomorrow, but I also know we may be. The important thing for us is just to stay the course and to focus on when we're in the game, focus on what is breaking down and how we can fix that quickly, not being worried about that it is breaking down. And that's like a subtle mental difference, but it's really important. Like you're focusing on, oh my gosh, everything's breaking down. You're not focused on how to fix what's breaking down. And so that's the shift that we try to get to as quickly as we can, is what needs to be fixed. And that's what we talked about at halftime with our group yesterday is, I can't sit in there and yell at them for 10 minutes on them breaking down. We have to talk about how do we fix it. That's a better use of our time. That's a more efficient use of our time. That's not to say I don't ever get angry or I don't ever yell. That would be a lie. But I do think as a coach, too, it's a good lesson for me. Like, you always have to be thinking as a problem solver, not someone that's bemoaning what just happened. Those people tend to be really annoying to be around when you're just around someone that's just talking about how bad everything is and what happened, right? Y'all are laughing because it's true when someone's just like complaining all the time. They're annoying to be around. So I have to remind myself, don't be the annoying person. be a problem solver, figure out how to get us where we need to go. And that's what I try and do in the games, and controlling your emotions. And that's what we try to teach our players to do too.
And what is it like teaching such a young group of girls that mentality, that staying on that focus? What is it like teaching them early in their career so it stays like that?
I mean, I think it's probably one of the most critical things of my job is to try and teach them that, is to teach them how to overcome those moments where they might not be playing well, or they feel maybe not as confident, or navigating like the low parts of the emotions of the game, because this is a microcosm of what they'll face in life after playing at Duke. And so teaching them that skill is something that is really important for me. I know it's something that I focus on with them, because I want them to be human beings that don't cave when stuff goes wrong. I want them to be human beings that are problem solvers and that think forward and that want to keep growing and keep improving. So, I think that's one of the things that is a big part of what I try to teach our group.
Hi, Kara. Just wanted to follow up specifically on Celeste's defense. She was an ACC Defensive Player of the Year for y'all, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year here. Just what is it about her that you think makes her such a successful defender?
I think competitiveness, what I said before, I think she just competes at a really high level. Practice games, she's takes pride in it and is competitive because she wants to win. And I think that mindset is what allows her to be really good on that end.
Kara, the ACC obviously is one of the best conferences in the country. You have a lot of really good teams who also play a lot of different ways. How does playing the schedule you play and playing the teams who play so differently sometimes prepare you for a game like this, where you had Richmond play a certain way, and then you have Louisville, who's going to play maybe a little more at pace, or not Louisville, Ohio State's going to play a little more at pace than that?
Yeah, I mean, now the conferences are all getting so big too, so it's really like, I don't know, a mini tournament. If you figure when you go through the 3 months now, starting next year with all the conferences growing. I mean, we've seen a lot of different styles, and they have two being in their conference. They play in a great conference as well, and for our players, it's been particularly instructive to be in a league like the ACC, because it's their first time through it. So they're able to have now comps in their head of either an individual player or a team, and they can kind of remember, okay, this is how I played this player, or this is how I played this team. And some of that they're gauging maybe as the game starts, because quickness, you can see it on film, but you feel it on the court. And so that's something that I think they can process and figure out a little bit more. So that's helpful. And honestly, we just wanted to surround them with like a really quality schedule all the way around. I mean, I think our schedule is rated really high this year. I don't know, like top 5, number 4 in the country. And, like Richmond, we had already played. I think we played 18 games against teams in the field. So we felt like surrounding a young team with that quality of opponent night in and night out would pay dividends for us when we got here. We weren't surprised by Richmond's quality. We respected it, and we knew that they were capable of beating us. And that's another thing I really want to ingrain in my players. When you get to this time of year, you have to respect everybody to the highest degree, because they're all really good. And if you do that, then you'll prepare at a really high level, and you'll put yourself in the best position to win the game. Doesn't mean you'll win it, but you'll put yourself in the best position. So I think all those things combined is what's helped our team just be able to have some confidence of knowing that we've played this caliber of team on our schedule, and now our challenge is to beat this caliber of team.
You've been around the game from a player, coach, and media everywhere. So what is the shot in Ohio State has been drawing a lot of fans, growing. a lot this year. So what is it going to be like being in that atmosphere in March, seeing like maybe a sold out crowd, maybe just a huge crowd, and just seeing the growth since you started playing to where you are now as a coach?
The shot, that's this.
Sorry, that the shot's what they called the arena.
Oh, the arena's
yeah,
called the shot.
yeah.
Okay. That's okay. I think the sport itself, I mean, I think is just picking up new fans and having just much more of an imprint on the sports landscape than maybe it's had in years past. And I think everyone's chronicling that and talking about that, and it's a great thing for our sport. And certainly this university has, I'm saying this university, Ohio State, has a great history in terms of success in women's basketball, and I've had a lot of great players and a lot of great teams, and certainly this area has supported the sport for a long time, not just college but high school as well. We recruit in Ohio. There's a lot of good players here, and there's always been good players here. So, this is a great opportunity for our players to play in that type of road environment against, a top team, and that atmosphere I think is what you would want. Certainly as a coach, it's what you want for your players. You want them to be able to play in these types of environments as much as possible for their collegiate experience, just for their experience as a competitor, and they're excited about it.
Coach, thank you very much. We're at
Thank
the
you.
limit. I'm the Maria Slovakovsky of Ohio State football. So nice to see you guys. Yeah. We won't keep you long. We'll let you get back to your open locker room. Matt, you want to open up?
I don't know, I'll start with you. Third time doing this for you. As the tournament evolves, as the games go, what have you learned about as the stage builds for this tournament?
Yeah, this time of year is very exciting for me, especially this year. We have a lot of new pieces, and I'm excited to compete with them. But, yeah, I just think each year it gets more and more exciting, and I think as I get more experience that, you know, I'll be able to help contribute more to this team. So I'm just excited.
Does the leadership factor amp up a little bit as it goes year to year for you?
Yeah, for sure. I know we have a lot of older people on this team who kind of take that leadership role more than me, but I know, like, as I move forward next year, I'm going to have to take up, you know, some of that leadership. But it definitely grows for sure.
Taylor, what about you? I mean, first year of this program, but you've done this before, and you're a leader. You're a veteran, fifth year, right?
Yes.
I think. Some of you I lose track, but what's this stage like as it builds for you as you are a little older than TT?
From my experience, it's all about taking one game at a time. Don't get too far ahead of ourselves, and I feel like that helps with like any personal anxieties or team anxieties. So just leaning on each other and just taking it one game at a time is pretty much my game plan for the rest of the season.
And as your role builds and your minutes build and your impactful moments for this team continue, what's that meant to you, and how have you adjusted to that as the year's gone?
I take pride in it. Any way I can help our team be successful, I'm willing to do. Even if it's 2 minutes, 30 minutes, it doesn't matter. As long as I'm just helping contribute to the team.
Tyre, you played 12 very productive minutes yesterday. Duke is coming in. They're a very tall team. They've got a lot of 6'3", 6'4" young ladies. Do you anticipate additional playing time tomorrow, and just how do you prepare for a team that's the size of Duke?
Just keeping the same game plan that we had. Anything that our coaches draw up for us, we're just going to execute. So I feel like what we have in store, we'll be able to handle whatever Duke has for us.
And then, Taylor, you were very, very effective early in the game yesterday. 5 offensive rebounds early, number of points, and then also leading the press. Second quarter is when it seemed to really kick in. What happened there, and what contributed to Ohio State's success in the second quarter? Because that's really when we put the game away, or when you guys put the game away.
Yeah, it might have been the nerves a little bit. It was our first game back after, a week and a half. But, in the first quarter, maybe we were making a little bit of mistakes, but we came together, kind of locked in, focused on the mistakes that we were making. And I think that helped with our energy coming back in the second quarter. And we were able to build off our mistakes and just be aggressive and cause a lot of turnovers. And I think that carried out to the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm. And then there's been an awful lot of talk about our press and Duke going up against it. Is that certainly a key for tomorrow?
Yeah, our press is always a key for our team. I think that's a weapon that we kind of use against a lot of teams that we face. So, we're going to keep working on our press, improving it in various ways, but, we're excited to execute it tomorrow.
Great. Jared, real quick.
Go ahead.
Kara, the Duke head coach, talked about you guys being a veteran, older team, and that being a key factor. So whether it's strictly business or good nature, you've got a lot of vocal input from your leaders, your teammates. So if you're in a huddle and Ricky or JC or Cody, if they have the wheel, so to speak, and they're imparting something on you guys, who do you individually want to hear from, and maybe who might bring a little bit of that good-natured humor to that group?
I think it's a little bit of everybody. Like when we come in our little huddles and everything, I think, if somebody sees something on the court that maybe other people are missing, everybody has a voice and we're all willing to listen. I don't think there's a certain person that I'm more prone to listen to. Just any input I get, really, I'm listening to all my teammates. I just want to get better and help my teammates.
I agree. It's always lighthearted. When we're messing up, we're supporting each other. And like she said, if we see something on the bench, we'll let them know right at our next time out, and they literally implement it the next time they get back on the floor. So very open ears on our team.
Taylor, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
We'll let the microphone get up here, and how about we go straight to questions?
Let's do that.
All right.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Can you talk about Duke's defense? It's kind of a defense versus defense, very different kind of sides, though. What do you see with Duke?
Yeah, excellent defensive team. Obviously, they put a lot into that end of the floor, and they're really good. They're very disruptive. They got great ball pressure. They're heavy in the passing lanes to try to disrupt the flow of your offense and create turnovers. And this will be one of the best defensive teams we've played this year.
And then also on offense, they're not known as a high point scoring team, but it seems like this year on offense, once they get the ball in, they're getting it down the court as fast as possible.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what does that do with your press?
Yeah. No, they're playing with great pace. I thought they inbounded the ball very quickly yesterday, so we'll have to certainly get organized quickly to either be back in transition defense or organize in the press very quickly because they're gonna get it in fast.
See, there's a lot of players will be playing their final game here tomorrow. Celeste is going to be playing against her former team. Is that something you address with the team at all, just to make sure they're focus on the task at hand?
No, I mean I think we've had good focus, and I think with the leadership that we have, they'll make sure that everybody's focused on the right stuff.
What are the biggest challenges that you feel like Duke presents to you that you have to elevate your game in order to make sure?
Well, they did a great job on the offensive glass yesterday, on the offensive boards, and so I think our ability to block them out will be huge, and then just execute offensively against a really good defense. Against their really good defense.
They have a bit of a size advantage. Yesterday, you were the ones with the size advantage. Going into tomorrow, they have a size advantage. So what are you guys looking to do to kind of balance that out?
Well, I just think really that either where the size could potentially hurt us is their rebounding. And so we've got to be really physical and pursue the ball with 5 people. I think that'll be huge.
And now, I know you mentioned practice the last 2 weeks have been really intense. How did that come into play going into this game?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously wanted to make sure we were sharp and ready to go into this weekend. So we've practiced pretty hard, and so hopefully that will pay dividends tomorrow.
Now they're a very young team, and you guys have a lot of players who have been here before, have this experience. How does that give you guys kind of an edge?
Well, hopefully it does. I mean, but sometimes the young players don't know that they're not supposed to be doing these great things that you see them do sometimes. So I mean, hopefully it's an advantage. We have a lot of people who played in a lot of big games, but sometimes it's fun to have those youthful teams and just let them go play. So they didn't look young yesterday to me. They looked like a veteran team who's played a lot of good basketball this year. So I expect that probably won't play into it that much tomorrow.
Kevin, as Dan mentioned, there's a lot of players who've been playing the last game at the shot. One of them being JC. She went over 2,000 points yesterday. What has she meant to this program?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk for hours about what she's meant for this program, but just the way she's played on the court and everyone sees that, just the effort, the energy, the leadership, but probably more importantly, just how she's represented herself and our program off the court and in the community has been really special.
What was your first impression of JC back when you first met her?
Yeah, well, when you just anytime first time I saw her, it's just like you just how hard she plays and that she just never stops going. She's just everywhere, offense, defense, just going as hard as she can, as quick as she can, and she just never stops. And just saying, you just don't see kids like that who just have a motor like that and they just never turn it off.
In this era of the transfer portal where it's getting rarer to see players stay for that long, what does it say about her and to be able to grow in one program versus, transferring? There's pros and cons to both, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's like she is been committed to our program and the success of it from day one. And it's you're right, it's a little bit more rare these days to see that, but I think we've done a better job recruiting really good kids, and that's why we have some 4- and 5-year players that have really meant a lot to our program.
Whenever you're scouting Duke and you're looking, they're a team that kind of gives the ball away a good amount, almost 18 times a game. Does that kind of push the team a little more, do you notice, to kind of challenge them to, okay, let's see how high we can go in that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that would, if we could get that number up there, that would be really helpful for us because they're so good in so many other areas. But, we'll kind of play the same way that we always play, and hopefully, we're effective with our style of play.
Madison mentioned this is, yesterday was the first time she's played in an NCAA tournament game, even though she's been here so long. What kind of value does she bring having her available once again?
Yeah, no, she's a really good defender, one. And then the other thing is that she seems to make everybody around her better. And so it just, each week she seemed to get a little more comfortable this year, and so it's good to be able to have her out there.
How have you seen her persevere behind the scenes to get to where she is now?
Yeah, no, it's just like it's been tough. For 2 years in a row, she'd be on the side working with the strength coach or the trainer, but she showed up every day and she did the work, and so it's great to see her have an opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament.
Like I said, you've been here before. What is the difference between the team and the mentality and just the vibe around the team this season compared to last season when you're at this point?
I think similar. Everybody's pretty focused on the task at hand, and we were kind of going day by day, practice by practice, game by game, and that's kind of what we had going last year. And I think it's a very similar feel, mostly because we have the same leaders and a lot of the same people.
Any other questions?
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Coach. See you
See you
tomorrow.
guys. Yeah.